Hello and welcome and assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good evening to everybody watching from wherever you are. Please come and say hello in chat so we know where you are joining us from. Welcome to another episode of the Jamali Life Show. I am your host, Eram Saeed, and with me today is one of my longtime colleagues and friends, Brad Yates. Very excited to have Brad with us today. Welcome, Brad.
Hey,
Awesome to have
Adam. It's
you
always
with us.
great to see you.
Always great to see you as well. And as I was sharing with you, I just got back from Pakistan. It ended up being a 33-hour long flight. I had a layover in Doha for 14 hours. It's horrible. Born
Oy.
tears. Yeah. And the jet lag is also pretty bad. And then, of course, as I was sharing with you in Dallas today, we were under a tornado watch since I think midnight last night. So that's always fun.
All kinds of things to tap through.
I know, exactly. So let's see. Mona Lisa, hello. Gauri, hello. Fawzia from Pakistan, hello. Gauri's from India. Viv from London. Yeah, it was not a wild flight, Viv. It's just a very long flight. Typically, it should be about 22 hours with everything, the layovers included, but my layover was just a layover from hell. But they have a beautiful lounge there. It's I think if I'm not mistaken, it keeps winning awards for being the best airport in the world. So it is very nice though.
So if you have to be laid over someplace, then
Yeah, exactly. If I had to choose, then it would be Doha. Yeah. So, and I have, of course, as soon as I landed, it's pollen season here in Texas. So I have allergies. And so I'm not crying, you guys, when I keep, wiping my tears. It's just allergies. Or maybe we can say tears of joy, Brad, because
there
you're
we go.
yeah. So I'm going to read your biography for people that might be watching you for the first time. I'm also going to share with you guys why I think this is Brad and the work he does is so important and the kind of impact it has had on my life. So Brad Yates is known internationally for his creative and often humorous use of emotional freedom technique, also known as EFT. It is also known as tapping. Brad is the author of the best-selling children's book, The Wizard's Wish, the co-author of the bestseller Freedom at Your Fingertips, and a featured expert in the film The Tapping Solution. He has also been a presenter at a number of events, including Jack Canfield's Breakthrough to Success, has done teleseminars with the Secret Stars Bob Doyle and Dr. Joe Vitale, and has been heard internationally on a number of internet radio talk shows. Brad also has over 1,200 videos on YouTube that have been viewed over 53 million times. And more info about Brad is available at www.tapwithbrad.com. So, yeah, absolutely. I remember those YouTube videos I have shared with listeners of From Heartache to Joy, which is now Life Reawakened show many times that so this is Janatul Firdaus is saying I'm the biggest fan of Brad. So you have a very big fan, very loyal fan here. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Um, so back in 2012 when I first started my telesummit From Heartache to Joy, you were one of the guests that agreed to appear on my show. I was just floored because I had been tapping with you unbeknownst to you for a couple of years before that. And while going through my divorce, bankruptcy, lawsuits, all those things, tapping was one of my go-to tools that would immediately shift me out of, God, so many emotions that I was experiencing at that time. You can imagine, I mean, divorce, bankruptcy, loss of my career that I had for 10 years at that time. There was a lot that I was needing to work through. And tapping was extremely helpful. So, for those of us, Brad, that may not understand exactly how tapping works, if you could share, what is this? Is it just mumbo jumbo? Is it magic? What exactly is it?
All of the above. It's At the very basic, for anyone who is new to this process, the reason we call it tapping is because we are quite literally tapping with our fingertips, primarily on our face and torso. And I totally understand if this is the first time you've seen this, it might look like mumbo jumbo, but trust me, there's a very good reason why we're doing this. So it was originally based on acupuncture.
Yeah.
So for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they said there's a flow of energy through the body along these pathways that are called meridians. And when this energy flows naturally, we experience our natural state of health and well-being, physically and emotionally. And when this energy gets stuck, we don't feel so good. And when we don't feel good, we don't think as clearly, we don't make the best choices. So there are all kinds of unfortunate consequences. And in traditional Chinese medicine, the doctor sticks needles in these key points. We're just stimulating these points by tapping on them to get that energy flowing. We have a growing body of scientific evidence showing that this is an effective process, primarily for downregulating stress. So
Mm.
the tapping sends a calming signal to the brain, calms down stress. So what happens, we get into stressful situations, prefrontal cortex, where our rational thinking mind is, goes bye-bye. we we make poor choices, and so the tapping helps us process that, so we get back into thinking clearly and make much better choices.
Yeah. So, talking about making better choices and the choices we usually make, talk to us a little bit, Brad, about why it shouldn't, I mean, shouldn't logically we be making choices that are best for us? For example, if the topic of our call today is how to have your best life. If I have a pretty clear picture of what I want in my life, wouldn't I be making choices in that direction anyway? Wouldn't that be logical?
Yeah, if we operated from logic,
Yeah.
we are not Spock. We do not operate from logic most of the time because 80 to 90% of our behavior is unconscious.
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing we did yesterday. Even if it didn't work yesterday or last year or 20 years ago, it's still what's familiar, especially again when we get into stress and the prefrontal cortex is gone and we're just operating from habit and old programming and the things that we were taught. So if our parents had terrible health habits or terrible money habits or terrible relationship habits, that's what we learned. Just like we learned how to walk and talk from them, we learned all of their behaviors for better and for worse. And so when we go into that stress state and we're not thinking clearly, we're just operating from habit and old behavior. And it's based on what we believe serves us. So when we're learning these things from our parents, from peers, from teachers, they're teaching us what they think is right. Even if they know it's not right for them, even if it's never worked for them, it's all they know. And so they're teaching us the best that they can. And so as a matter of survival, we learn whatever it is they're teaching. So when we're stressed and we're not thinking clearly, we're just coming from survival mode. I just have to come out of instinct, out of old behavior patterns. But it believes that it's helping us.
Hmm.
So even though we might engage in self-sabotaging behavior, we're on a diet, but we eat the box of cookies. We are trying to reach a financial goal, but then we go spend money on the latest device that we saw on an ad. Um, we're trying to have a healthier relationship, but we keep forgetting to call our loved ones. Whatever it might be, self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love.
Hmm.
Logically, it doesn't look like a self-loving act, but in that moment, we're feeling upset about something and we're thinking the box of cookies is all that's going to save me. That buying this new thing, I don't feel good. When I have this new device, this new thing I want to buy, then I'm going to be happy. I should call this person, but I just can't right now. I have something else I just feel I need to do to try to take care of myself. It's a survival thing. So it's an act of self-love, even though it's misguided and based on old habits. So that's why when we have a simple stress relief technique and we can calm the stress down, get back into our thinking brain and say, what really moves me towards what I want? Use the expression all the time, move the needle. What moves the needle in the direction of what I say I want. Because yeah, logic. I was speaking with someone recently on an interview about money. I said, well, we say we want a lot of money, but we have a fear of money. He goes, oh no, no, people don't have fear of money. They have fear of not having money. I said, that's what we like to think logically. But if that was true and that motivated people, everybody would be financially well off. But we have all of these money beliefs. I said to him, have you ever heard the expression, money is the root of all evil? Many of us have heard that over and over again. So it's stuck in our brain. So while,
Yeah.
our conscious mind, 5 to 10% of our mind is saying, "Yes, I want to be rich." The other 90 to 95% is saying, "Money's the root of all evil, and we don't
Why
want to
would I
be
want
evil."
evil? Yeah, we don't
Mom
want to
and dad
be.
would be so disappointed if we were evil, so that's not safe. So I need to shun money.
Mm. Yeah, I remember, Brad, when I first heard about the power of the subconscious mind and that 90 to 95% of our behavior is controlled by our subconscious mind, and there's a minuscule maybe 5% that we can control through conscious mind. I was shocked because of course I thought I was totally in control of my life. And thank God I learned that many years ago. And then I started to study more and more about, what the heck is this subconscious mind? Who controls it? And how can I, if it has been programmed in a certain way, how can I deprogram some of the habits I don't like? And of course, that is a journey of a lifetime, isn't it? Reprogramming
Yes,
yourself.
it
And
is.
I really believe that's why we came here, was to learn how to deprogram ourselves and move more and more into love. I was watching this movie last night. I don't know if you've seen it. It's new. It's called The Substance. Have you watched it?
I haven't seen it yet. I
Oh,
I saw clips just during the Oscars the other day, but
it's really disturbing.
yeah.
Really disturbing because it hits home on so many levels. I won't give the story away, but it teaches in a very brutal way. It brings us face to face with the reality that so many of us do not have self-love. We actually have deep self-loathing, and we keep looking for love and validation outside of ourselves. And of course, this is a movie, so it becomes really intense
Yes.
and heartbreaking. And but I've seen that in my work. I've seen that when I'm, of course, a lot of my work is with Muslim women and women from the South Asian so the Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and a lot of women there have been raised with notions that you're not good enough, or you're not as good as your brother, or you're inferior to men, and all of those things. And I see this behavior play out in their lives um, in really detrimental ways. So, first of all, why is it so difficult to love and accept ourselves, Brad? Most of us are good people. We would not say the kind of mean and harsh things to other people that we say to ourselves on everyday basis. And when I try to get people to accept themselves, it is so difficult. So why is it so hard?
And we have so much programming about total misunderstandings about not being good enough. And
Mm.
it may be from parents or teachers who maybe quite literally said, "You're not good enough. You should never have been born." Actually, I'm going to go ahead. There's all kinds of points you can tap, but right here where the collarbones just about come together, you can tap with a fist. And I'm going to encourage folks watching this, just start tapping right now as we talk about
Yeah,
this.
you'll feel a difference, guys. And let me know through your comments. Yeah,
Yeah,
start.
because we want to be start even just clearing stress as we talk about the subject. We get so many messages from other people, either people telling us we're not good enough, or we interpret it. The so many children whose parents have divorced, and the children have decided it's my fault. I'm not good enough because this. I should have stopped this. We interpret things as meaning that we're not good enough based on a very young mind. We would say, if I was to say, Well, I need to do some investing. I'm gonna go down to the local kindergarten and ask the 6-year-olds for financial advice. You say, "Oh, it's crazy. Why would you ask a 6-year-old?" It's like, well, here's the thing. You're asking a 6-year-old for life advice
Every day.
ongoing.
Yeah. Ongoing
We're
basis.
we're checking in with decisions that we made at a very young age, not because we're bad or stupid, but because we have this belief. So even I truly believe at our very core, we do love ourselves. We have a survival instinct. But the
Mm,
self-loathing that comes up is a survival technique because we have learned that if I feel good about, maybe that in my past, if I felt good about myself, it pushed my parents' buttons and they said, wipe that smile off your face or something like that. So, to the extent that we have learned self loathing, we have learned it as a survival mechanism.
mm,
And certainly in certain cultures where that belief is that women are inferior and girls aren't as good as boys and all of that stuff. And so there's that belief. So with whatever culture we're in, whatever beliefs that we might have, based on our income level, our religion, our color of our skin, our gender, our sexual orientation, whatever it is, to whatever extent we have messages saying you're less than, you're not good enough, then it feels like a survival mechanism for me to take that on because
yeah.
it doesn't feel safe to fight the establishment. And so somehow I'm going to sneak through as long as I, no, no, you're right, you're right. And so we do that to ourselves. So recognizing again, self-sabotage is misguided self-love. Even the self-loathing is misguided self-love. So if we acknowledge that and go, okay, deep down inside, I really do love myself. I'm trying to find ways. I just want to find healthier ways to do this now.
Yeah. So guys, uh if you notice, I am still tapping because this, I don't know, this was very interesting. It did trigger me. And if you feel like you're suddenly breathing deeper, or maybe what are some of the other signs when energy starts to release? I know I said
Uh,
the
if
headache.
anyone's yawning, it's not that
Yeah.
you're bored with this interview, I promise. It's it's that
Yeah.
yawning is a very common physical manifestation of energy shifting.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that if you're not yawning, it's not working. It comes up in all kinds of ways: crying, burping. Sometimes my shoulders roll when if something is particularly hitting home. But here's the thing: is because the tapping downregulates stress, and there's a number of physical markers that they've shown in scientific research of the benefits of tapping. Immune system being boosted, uh, gene expression, positive gene expression. There's all kinds of really cool things that happen with tapping. So even if you're tapping, you say nothing's happening. It's that you're just not consciously aware of it because it's so subtle.
Yeah.
Sometimes tapping is like a painkiller, and fairly quickly you notice the relief. Sometimes it's like a vitamin. We
Mm.
know that it has benefits over time, but no one ever takes a vitamin and says,
Yeah.
wow, I feel awesome right now. It's just you
Yeah.
don't consciously notice it, but
Yeah.
there are biological markers showing that there are benefits. So if I were to hook you up to a machine, I could show you that the little bit of tapping that you might have done already is having a positive benefit. So just trust the process and know that it's helping. And because we are all facing stress all the time, especially because we're all walking around with one of these things that's constantly saying, hey, did you hear about this? Here's something else to
Yeah.
be upset about.
You're on a
And it
tornado
causes
watch.
stress. Tornado watch, yeah. I mean, sometimes there are much bigger things that cause
They're
that stress.
useful. Yeah. Yeah.
And it takes us out of our prefrontal cortex. It puts us into fight or flight. Sometimes at subtle levels. But any amount of stress that we're experiencing is compromising our ability to think clearly and make good decisions.
Yeah.
So that's why I recommend tapping on a daily basis. By the time you recognize that you're having so much stress, it's problematic, you're already gone. It's like this is energy hygiene. So, like you have physical hygiene, like brushing your teeth and taking a shower. You don't want to wait until people are holding their nose around you and go, now I realize that I should probably brush my teeth or take a shower. Same with stress. By the time we're recognizing the signs, it's like, yeah, I probably should have done something about this sooner.
Yeah. Wow. I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about this really interesting experiment, Brad, where they basically took people, one group of people had ongoing stress in their lives and anxiety. And so they had developed kind of this pessimistic mindset. And then the other group were stress-free and had a more positive, optimistic outlook on life. And they said, okay, we have placed these $100 bills in the mall, easy to find, and we just want to see if you can find it. And again, they repeated the experiment. The group that was optimistic would find the $100 bills, and the other group with the exact same conditions, and the other group that was stressed out and pessimistic could not find it. So this shows how the opportunities that are continuously around us, the abundance that is continuously around us, is missed because we are in such a fight or flight
Our focus
mentality.
narrows. Yeah.
Yeah, we've
And
got that tunnel vision, and the mind is only showing us things that we should be alarmed about, and it's filtering out all the other goodness. And,
yeah.
we are a highly, highly sophisticated kind of software, and it works. We just need to learn how to make the brain work with us in our favor. And I would love for you, I know there's been many experiments that have been done with EFT, with tapping, and I know there were experiments done when people went to, I think, African victims of genocide and stuff like that, and tapping was done. And before that, I'd like to share from my own life, when I had started tapping, before I started my telesummit, and of course, I could feel the benefits immediately. As I said, there used to be the tap of the morning. I would wake up with that every day. I would turn on my YouTube, put on your video, and I would start with tap of the morning. And so I started volunteering for domestic violence victim. I had faced it myself, so I decided that was going to be my altruistic. I was trying out the manifestation techniques from The Secret, right? So that was going to be my altruistic endeavors. And there was one lady who used to, it was pretty violent for her, and I would try to get her to tap with me, and her brother would be there, and they would both be like, "What is this? This looks like nonsense." and and she wouldn't do it. She didn't believe it. So one time I got a call, it was past midnight, and her brother calls me and he said, "I just didn't know who else to call because she is in full-blown hysteric attack, and I can't console her. She's not listening to me. Can you please come over?" So I went over there, and sure enough, she was in full-blown hysteric attack. She could not even comprehend what I was saying. And so I just sat down with her. I said, just start doing this. Let's just breathe and tap. So we did the whole 3 rounds of tapping where she stopped screaming, her breathing started to calm down. And then I started adding words to it, like, even though I am afraid. And so we did about, I would say, 10 minutes of tapping, and she was completely calm. Her eyes were clear. The absolute fear in her eyes was gone. She could see that she's safe, she's at home, and she started talking normally. And her brother was like, "What was that? Wow." And so then she started tapping regularly. Today, I'm happy to share with everyone, she's my best friend. We have been friends for, I don't know, 18 years now. She's living a great life. But that for me was like this pivotal point where, I could see firsthand the benefit of tapping and how it pulled her out of an otherwise, she was going into self-harm, um, and made tapping a part of her life.
Yeah, excellent. And so I see in the comments Saul asked about this. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. Yes, tapping is most helpful when we are experiencing
Can I
discomfort
read the
inside.
question so that, because it won't show up in the recording. So the question is, does tapping help even if you are feeling negative? I mean, physically, you are tapping, but inside, you're still feeling negative.
Yeah, and that's when the tapping process was developed. That was the primary thing. Was it's for helping to resolve and process uh, what are called negative feelings. I don't like to use the word negative emotions. I think all emotions are part of the human experience. They all have a function, but there are definitely uncomfortable emotions. And so it's not that we are trying to get rid of it, we're trying to process it and look at what's going on. So yes, but when we're feeling that way, we often spiral and we get into you know not great thinking, and that spirals into that. So and then we have that stress response, and it makes it very hard to think clearly. So the tapping helps us calm down, as Eram's story just demonstrated. I've had some. I was in London once on the London Eye, and the giant Ferris wheel, and a woman was starting to have an attack, and I said, "Just here," and I just held her hand and just tapped the back of her hand, and her breathing normalized. So
It's
it's
remarkable. It's the thing is, it's so easy. It's deceptively easy, and people don't realize how effective it is. And I have also since then tried it in so many different things, and it just immediately works. Now, did you
no,
want
and
to?
just a
Yeah,
disclaimer here.
yeah,
There are times where it happens like that, and there are times where the effects are subtle. So that's the problem with EFT is that because it can be so effective so quickly, sometimes if people are tapping and they're not consciously aware of any shift, it's like it doesn't work for me, or it doesn't work. So I just want to be careful of saying
yeah.
it's not a
I
magic
appreciate
bullet that
that.
it instantly, although
Thank you.
although it does, it's always helpful. Sometimes it's seemingly miraculously helpful, and sometimes it's like, okay, if I can just start to take the edge off, if my anxiety is at an 8 out of 10, and I can tap and I get that down to a 7.75, that's still some relief. I'll
Yes.
take that. I'll take the tiny relief over just staying stuck and not doing anything.
Yeah. Because when I used to do tap of the morning, a lot of times I would wake up okay. And I still did it because it's like if you are going to brush your teeth every day, just because you brushed them yesterday doesn't mean you can skip it today. It's like
Right.
energy hygiene. And yes, at times it was if I was feeling the overwhelm or if I have to go do a presentation and I, just want to be calm and centered, I would do it. And at times it was just, I love developing a practice of gratitude, so I would do that with tapping, and
Yeah.
it opens up more and more, feeling more grateful and helps to cultivate that habit. Um, I have used it to manifest stuff because I wanted to, raise my level of acceptance and self-love. I mean, there's so many ways that you can use tapping. And I would love for you to share some of the stories that have really moved you. I know you have worked with thousands and thousands of people, Brad. But is there something that sticks out that you would like to share with our audience?
It's like every day there's something new. Just I'm I'm blessed to be able to have the feedback on YouTube. I mean, obviously when I'm working with someone and I can see it. So this is the funny thing to your questions always. There are some people say tapping should only be used when you're feeling negative, and I'm like, no,
Yeah,
nothing's so good that it can't get better. I
yeah,
tap first thing in the morning, and it's not that I wake up in a bad mood. I just wake up and say, I want to have an awesome day, and I want to
yeah.
clear anything that might be inside me that might resist. I always say that the extent to which we don't have what we say we want tends to be the extent to which we're resisting it.
I would love for you to repeat that,
Yeah.
please. That is very important.
The extent to which we are not experiencing what we say we want tends to be the extent to which we are resisting it. And part of us wants to resist that idea. It's like, no, I want money. I'm not resisting money. I want better health. I'm not resisting. It's like, oh, so if I were to watch you throughout the day, every action that you take, every decision you make is designed to move the needle in the direction of health and wealth and happiness. You never, never, never do anything that moves the needle in the opposite direction. Well, maybe it's like, and it's resistance. And it's not that
Yeah.
we're bad or stupid. We just have old programming about why things couldn't or shouldn't be that good. And
Mm,
so, and we hold on to those beliefs with stress. And it's like an electric fence around our comfort zone. And if we get close, we start to feel that and we back off. So the tapping cuts the wires to the electric fence. It's like, no, it is okay for things to be good for me.
yeah.
So So just this morning had a going through comments, had a note from some woman. She and her husband are traveling, and he had a medical emergency and was in a hospital where they don't speak the language, and just the fear and the stress. And she said, just tapping with different videos just got us through this.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's we were able to calm ourselves down and allow the healing process to happen more quickly. So I there are, so from people in tapping in moments of great stress, like the story you told earlier, but then other people who, where things are okay, but they're making them even better. It's like, wow, you know, finished, I did better on my tests. Have heard a lot of stories from people who, it's like, well, I just tapped before going into an interview or taking a test, and I got the best score I've ever gotten. Um, Certainly with financial things, with a number of manifestation things,
Well,
it's
how about
clearing that limitation.
relationships?
Yeah, with relationships, because we have so many fears about relationships. The fear of rejection. We stop ourselves so often, and we will sabotage ourselves. We'll sabotage relationships, like, because especially if it's going really well and we're thinking it's going to end, it always ends, and the longer it takes, the sooner, the more devastating it's going to be. I think I need to blow it up right now.
You're
And
so
it's
funny. Yeah,
and
but
it's
that's exactly what,
brilliant.
yeah,
It's
it's brilliant.
brilliant. We are
Yeah.
we are geniuses based on misinformation.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the belief that I can never be in a happy relationship,
Yeah.
I should minimize the pain as much as possible. So we sabotage that. So we want to be compassionate with ourselves when we engage in self-sabotaging behavior, recognizing we are brilliantly trying to protect ourselves using a faulty manual. Does it
So
work for
we're getting
depression
some
and
questions.
loneliness? Yeah,
Yeah.
any discomfort that we're experiencing, because the emotions come from our thoughts about situations. So, like the Stoic philosopher said, it's not what happens to us, it's our thoughts about what happens. And so, and those thoughts cause this uncomfortable feeling that we have, and we experience that in our bodies.
Mm.
So, there are a lot of benefits to talk therapy, but having the tapping takes it into the body, as Dr. Bessel van der Kolk says, the body keeps the score. So that's
Yeah.
where we want to go and do the work while we're talking about these things. And as you're saying, Aram, about gratitude,
Mm.
we have all kinds of beliefs about gratitude, including a belief that gratitude is just something I should do instead of being an awesome experience. Because feeling gratitude is an awesome experience, but we have all this programming of, well, you should say thank you, you should say thank you. And so we actually have some uncomfortable beliefs about gratitude. So tapping can help us let go of, I'm not doing this just because I should. I'm doing
Mm.
it because it just feels really awesome to be acknowledging the blessings that I have in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. So how often, the next question is, and we're going to be taking callers next. What should be the frequency of tapping throughout a day if we are doing it to resolve some specific issue?
Yeah. There's no exact thing. As I said, I believe tapping should be done every day, even if it's just a few moments. So think of it like brushing your teeth. So you have set times. Yes, I'm going to brush my teeth first thing in the morning or whatever, and then throughout the day. So if you eat some Oreo cookies and you're about to go meet some people and you've got all this black stuff in your teeth, you're not going to say, "Ah, I got all this black stuff in my teeth," but I already brushed my teeth this morning, so you'll brush
Yeah.
your teeth again.
Yeah.
So as is convenient, as is comfortable, I may tap at different times throughout the day, especially if something comes up that bothers me, I'll definitely tap. But at times I might just go, just in case there's anything there.
Yeah.
So find what works for you.
Because here's the thing, I think it really helped me when I understood that we are basically energy bodies. At our core, we are energy. every thought we have, every emotion we have, the thoughts we think consciously and the thoughts we think unconsciously. It's all energy frequency. And the physical body is of course more dense, but there's all these other things going on, and certain times throughout our body, and I mean we're not just this physical body, we're bigger than that, but when it gets blocked, when energy gets blocked, that's where tapping is very helpful, because you are tapping at certain points on your physical body, and that basically helps to move the energy. So if you're going through something, or if you haven't yet, you haven't been on the healing journey for a long time, you've been going through something in life, chances are you're going to need to tap more often, just to basically stay calm and, stay in a balanced place. Otherwise, you might tap like what Brad says, couple of times a day. And it might even be that you're just, coasting through life and you think, oh my God, I'm healed, I'm enlightened now. And then life hits you and you're like, okay, back to the healing journey again.
Yeah, don't take a shower or brush your teeth and say, I feel so clean now, I'll never need to do that again.
Yeah, and this is a
Because
great
life is
question.
going to keep happening.
Yeah, we're gonna take callers now to work with Brad, so you can actually experience tapping with Brad. But I think this is also a great question. Does it still work if we feel uncomfortable, but I have no idea what exactly the discomfort is about or why, and we're just doing silent tapping?
Yeah. And so when we're doing tapping and we're looking at, okay, I'm feeling some discomfort, we start by naming what it is. So it may be, I'm really upset at this person because of this stupid thing they did. And it may be, I'm really nervous about this interview coming up. And it may just be, I don't know what it is, but I feel this tightness in my chest. So whatever it is that we're aware of, we can tap on. So we can tap on, even though I'm nervous about this interview, or I can tap on, even though I have this tightness in my chest. So whatever we might be experiencing, whatever awareness we have of that, and we rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, just so we have an idea of, okay, how troublesome is this to me at the moment, this nervousness or this tightness in my chest, so that as we tap through it, we can then check again, where's that number? Am I, and we can say, okay, now I feel better, and recognizing that. I also want to address, Maria had a question about a relationship.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want me to read the question first so that
sure,
we'll
go
have
ahead. Yeah.
recording? So the question is it possible to be in a relationship of husband and wife if the two are not a right match emotionally, but at the same time don't want to divorce? How can a wife manage stress by these strategies if husband is not cooperating? I want to not feel what hurts me in his behavior. And can I live in peace on my own while living with him? Great question.
Yeah, I mean I mean it's a big question. Because
So the
what some
situation is uncomfortable. It's not
yeah.
ideal. The situation is not going to change, but can she shift to a more peaceful, centered place?
Yeah, absolutely. See, again, it's not what happens to us, it's our thoughts about what happens to us. And I know that Angel asked and said later on, I believe you can, because she left and regretted it. There's no with a situation like this, there's no one right answer for everyone.
Yeah.
So, but I do believe that we deserve to be happy, and it's so it's finding where that piece is. Obviously, we can tap through what our thoughts are about this other person's behavior and what it means, because we're meaning making machines. When things happen, we make it mean something about us. He's not cooperating, it must mean that he doesn't respect me, or something like that. I'm not saying that's what it is here. So we can get to a point where we say, "Yeah, that's not it, that's just his stuff, and I don't need to be bothered by his stuff. If the situation is working, then how do I clear this?" The challenge is we don't want to create a life where we're just tolerating stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
it doesn't suck too bad, so I can just muscle through it. Especially if it's a situation where there's any kind of, cruel behavior, even abuse, physical or emotional, it's not a matter of going, well, even though I was abused again, I choose to love and accept myself. Okay, I feel better now. I can stay in this relationship. This is not about enabling us to tolerate what we shouldn't tolerate.
Mm.
And I believe that there are possibilities to, I believe that the universe is so magnanimous that there are possibilities to create a life that we love.
Yes. Yes.
But I can't tell anybody
Yes.
what that's supposed to be because we all have different things. So I can't, give advice on where it is. It's just a matter of, but here's the thing is as we tap through all of the stress that we're feeling, we might get more clear about yeah, you know what, this is a good situation. I don't want uh, another situation. And if I can maintain my own self-esteem, then this could, be an ideal situation for me.
Mm.
Or I might recognize, you know what, this isn't the right situation. There is I am holding on to this because of beliefs. So, yeah, so an angel commented again about not, wishing she had gone further. And it may be that there may be stuff to tap about how about the regret and recognizing, wow, I'm regretting this because of certain beliefs, and maybe it was the best choice.
Mm.
I don't know. But as we're
Yeah.
tapping, we get more clarity and we can start to see, is this what I want? Or is there another possibility that I didn't see before? Just like finding those $100 bills. As I get more clear, as I clear the stress and I process the emotions that are coming up, not wrong or bad or stupid. There are no negative emotions. There's just uncomfortable emotions. As I process those, I get more clear thinking and I can see, oh, here's a better choice, or here's what feels like a more right choice, and I have more freedom to take that choice. Because a lot of times we just
Yeah.
don't feel like we have that freedom.
Thank you so much. Uh, that was so beautiful, Brad. And I know because a lot of our viewers right now are probably from the culture that I belong to, and this is universal. This is not just this culture. It's everywhere because we are all humans. We're all social animals, and relationships, can hurt. I can tell you, it's interesting. While I was in Pakistan, I met someone that I had met, I think maybe 20, 25 years ago. So she and I kind of were in a similar situation. And I opted to get a divorce. She also opted to get a divorce. And now, 25 years later, when I asked her, so how are you? And, how's life? And she was very negative, God bless her, and was still talking about the abuse and how bad the marriage was as if it just ended a year ago. And in comparison, I feel I have had the most blessed life. I feel I'm so filled with gratitude. Like I was telling another friend of mine that God, I have I can't believe how amazing my life is. And on top of that, um my ex-husband was just taken to the hospital yesterday, and I was really praying hard for him. My heart has nothing but compassion for him. I'm not saying, I'm not sharing this with you, Brad, to say I'm this saint, and no, not at all. But it has taken me all this time to clear out what you just said, that it's not what happened to us, it's the meaning we attach to it. It's the story we like to believe. So my story was, he abused me. I was this innocent young girl, and that, and of course that used to cause me a lot of pain. And I realized, in order for me to be free, truly free, because now there's nobody else abusing me. Now it's me doing it to myself on a daily basis by, running that story again and again. So I released that really primarily for myself, because I didn't want to do that to myself anymore. And what it taught me was that, when I was able to step back and look at the situation, I could take responsibility for the role I played, and I could also see the childhood he had had and what might have led to him becoming the person he did. And also, I was able to truly appreciate what a great dad he was. He has been a great dad to my daughter, and I'm so grateful for that. He's a wonderful dad. And that's why I'm praying for him, his health, that, I want to continue to see him in my daughter's life. And it's so freeing, Brad, that something that I should have been stuck. I mean, seeing that friend of mine was such a stark reminder that, oh my God, this thing happened to you 20 years ago and you're still reliving it as if it happened yesterday. And that's in our hands. That's how we choose to suffer.
Yeah. And because that's what we're trained to do.
Yeah.
It's until or unless we find something else, which is why I do what I do, is trying to say, look, people are doing the best they can. We are all
Mhm.
doing the best we can in any given moment, given the programming that we have and the circumstances that we're under.
Mm.
So we can look at all the people who have hurt us and go, wow, that was the best they could do at the time. Not that we should stay in that situation.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, they're doing the best they can, so I just have to put up with it.
Yeah.
But it's that level of freedom, and I often do this in the tapping round, saying I choose to be in a place of forgiveness and acceptance of everyone involved. I don't tell anyone to rush that, but ideally we get to that place because that's the freedom. And but your friend doesn't know how to be free because that program in there and hasn't
He's
been able to see that opening.
Yeah, it's too attached to the story because that becomes a part of your identity and you want to be that victim, and who will you be without that story? And it's scary, and it's a whole process. I get that.
Yeah.
You
The
know.
identity that you just mentioned, that is a huge part of it. This is who I am. I am the long suffering person. And if I'm not that, who the heck am I? And what will I have to do? What responsibilities will there be? What expectations? Because a lot of people are lowering their expectations of me because of the situation. Oh, no, no, we won't ask her because of what she's going through. So, recognize there are all kinds of, in psychology, talk about secondary gain. And this is not to shame or blame anyone. Again, we're all doing the best we can with what we know. And that's why I find tapping so beneficial because it gives us greater freedom to do something else, to break out
Yeah.
of that pattern and recognize it's okay if I don't do this. And I just want to quickly answer Keen or Kine, I'm sorry, I don't know how you say your name.
Yeah.
The If the symptoms get worse, here's what happens. Sometimes tapping doesn't make things worse, but the process of going in and doing tapping makes us more aware. So it's like if you're cleaning your room because your apartment because someone's coming over, and you say, how dirty is it? It's 2 out of 10, but I want it to be really clean because I want to impress these people. And you start to clean it and you find, oh, there's dirty laundry under the sofa. Now it's a 7 out of 10 as to how dirty it is because you were cleaning up. The laundry was already there. So you wouldn't say, oh, cleaning up my apartment made it dirtier.
Mm.
So recognize that's what happens. So now with certain issues, don't do it on your own. That's great. It's better to work with a practitioner, somebody who can be there to support you through some really challenging things. But for most of it, as we're tapping, it will get better. But we're just sometimes the number goes up. We say, oh, I'm a 4 out of 10, but now it's an 8 out of 10 because we're more aware, we're paying attention to it, and we're processing it.
Yeah.
Just to clean your thing. It's like, okay, now I see the dirty laundry. Now I can clean it out. Now it really is as clean as I thought it was. I hope that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Thank you. I want to read this comment from Iman saying, tapping restored my sense of self-worth and releasing uncomfortable energies when no other technique worked, all thanks to Brad. I'm sure you're very
Well,
used to reading such comments.
not all thanks to me. It's
Well,
thanks to
yeah,
you because
you played a role too.
you
Yeah.
you you did it. I often say, people talk about being a healer. Say, I'm not a healer. I'm a healing guide. You are the healer. I'm just
Yeah.
showing you how to do it, and I try to make it entertaining at times to keep you going through it.
And I
We
want
should do
to,
some tapping.
yeah, we will. And so again, I see only one hand raised. So if you want to do, if you want to get a chance to do tapping with Brad, you will just go to reactions and raise your hand, and I will pick from that queue. I also want to give a shout out to Deepal Shah. She is actually one of our long time visiting healers on what used to be From Heartache to Joy and is now the Life Reawakened show. So hi, Deepal. Thank you so much for being here, sweetheart. Great to have you here.
Hey, Deeple. We'll be talking on Thursday.
Oh, you will? Oh, cool. I feel like you're answering my question with phobia because I did it unsupervised. The I did see the dirty laundry, but then I didn't take it further. Was not sure how.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we have a couple of people, and Kareen was the first one, so I'm gonna go ahead. You need to unmute yourself, hun, and then you can talk. Hello. You should be able to unmute yourself now. All right. I don't know.
Is that me you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Hello.
my God.
Hi.
Hi.
So Brad, are you okay on time? Because I have time. We can do another 30 minutes or 45 minutes. How are you on time?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I
Okay.
was I didn't know what the timing was, so I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we got 2 minutes
So
to
if
do a
we're
tapping
okay.
round.
All right, let's do a tapping
Yeah.
round
No,
and
I'm
then we'll
I'm
talk
I'm good
about
for
your
another 45
offer.
minutes.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right. So and just to let our participants, our viewers know that they can tap along too, right?
Absolutely. So there's a thing in with tapping we call borrowing benefits.
Yeah.
So while you're tapping, you're going to be calming down your own nervous system, and your mind will make associations such that, so if what Karina and I are tapping on, even if the words don't match what you're going through, your mind and body will still be able to make associations, and you'll still be clearing things out and getting benefits.
Awesome. So
It's
hi, Kareen.
interesting.
What's going on, hon?
I have I'm easily overwhelmed, and I would really like some more clarity and focus.
Um, all right, so close your eyes, take a deep breath, and everyone go ahead and do the same. And on a scale of 0 to 10, how overwhelmed do you feel at the moment?
I think it's a 7.
Okay. Where in your
It's
body do
just,
you feel, where in your body do you feel that most? What's the physical experience?
um, in mostly in my throat.
In your throat. Okay. And so with your eyes closed and just following your breath through your body, paying attention to your throat. And for everyone else, just paying attention to whatever else might be going on in there for you. Paying attention to your throat. Ask yourself, what am I most afraid of? And just pay attention to how it shows up. The answers might show up in words or pictures. It may show up as physical sensations or emotions. So let me know what you're experiencing.
Would you like me to tell it or?
Yes, yes, please.
Ah, um, I'm about. I signed up for a massage course, and it's. I'm scared that it is too much. When I see the schedules and then I think, oh my God, I hope I can do that. I hope really hope that.
So close your eyes still and feeling what goes on inside your body. Say, I'm afraid I can't handle this.
I'm afraid I can't handle this.
Scale is 0 to 10. How strong is that?
It's a 7.
Yeah. And if I don't handle it, dot dot dot.
And if I don't handle it, then what am I going to do with my life further then?
Got it. All right. So for those of you new to tapping, we're going to take fingertips of our index and middle finger and gently tap on the side of our hand to start with. And then we'll go through these 8 points. So right here at the beginning of your eyebrow,
I
corner of your
follow
eye
you too.
socket. Pardon me?
I follow you too.
Oh, excellent. I'm just explaining this
Yeah, for
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 anyone
the
else
other.
who might not be familiar before I just jump
Yes.
into it. Um, Side of the eye, right under the middle of your eye, right under your nose, right under your lower lip, just above your chin. Again, right here where the collarbone's just about to come together, and you can make a fist there. Right about 4 inches below your armpit. It's right about bra strap level, and I'm sure any guys on here can figure out where that is too. And finally, the top of the head. So just tapping around the crown of your head like this. Uh, in basic EFT, you would just say the same thing over and over, this fear, this fear, this fear, or whatever the word might be. And someone asked earlier about if you can do it silently. Yes, you can tap silently, and it will still be sending those calming signals to your brain. But we're going to be a little bit more freeform in the wording here. So here we go. Even though I'm afraid I can't handle this,
Even though I'm afraid I can't handle this,
I choose to love and accept myself.
I choose to love and accept myself.
Even though I'm afraid I can't handle this,
Even though I'm afraid I can't handle this,
I choose to love and honor myself.
I choose to love and honor myself.
Even though I'm afraid I can't handle this,
Even though I'm afraid I can't handle this,
it seems so overwhelming.
it seems so overwhelming.
I don't think I have it in me.
I don't think I have it in me.
I'm afraid I'm going to fail.
I'm afraid I'm going to fail.
And then what do I do?
And then what do I do?
And even though I have all this fear,
Even though I have all those fears,
I choose to deeply and completely
I choose to deeply and completely
love, honor,
love,
and
honor,
accept
and
myself,
accept myself.
and maybe anyone else who might be involved,
And maybe anyone else who might be involved,
because I choose to feel that free.
because I choose to feel that free.
All this sense of overwhelm,
All this sense and overwhelm,
all this upset,
all this upset,
all this fear that I can't handle this.
all this fear that I can't handle this.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Who came up with this schedule?
I what?
Who came up with this schedule?
Who came up with this schedule?
When I look at the schedule of this course,
When I look at the schedule of this course,
it's not even human.
it's not even human.
They're expecting too much of me.
They're expecting too much of me.
There's no way I can handle this.
There's no way I can handle this.
And if I don't handle it,
And if I don't handle this,
the consequences will be terrible.
the consequences will be terrible.
This is my one last chance to figure out my life.
This is one last chance to figure out my life.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
I thought this might be it.
I thought this might be it.
And then I looked at the schedule.
And then I looked at the schedule.
And I feel like I'm screwed.
And I feel like I'm screwed.
And I feel all this overwhelm in my throat.
I feel all this overwhelming in my throat.
And I'm processing this.
And I process it.
All this discomfort in my throat.
All this discomfort in my throat.
All this overwhelm.
All this overwhelming.
All this fear.
All this fear.
Letting go of it as much as possible.
Letting go of it as much as possible.
Letting it go all the way through my body.
Letting it go all the way through my body.
And all the way back through my past.
And all the way back through my past.
Back through all the times in my life.
Back through all the times in my life.
Where I somehow got the idea.
When I somehow got the idea.
That I couldn't handle things like this.
That I couldn't handle this.
The fact is.
The fact is.
I have handled all kinds of things in my life.
I have handled all kinds of things in my life.
I have handled some real crap at times.
I handled some real crap at times.
Maybe not always as gracefully as I would have liked.
Maybe not always as graceful as I liked.
But I've handled every difficult thing in my life.
But I handled every single thing in my life.
And this course schedule?
And this course schedule?
Probably not the hardest thing I've had to face.
Is probably not the hardest thing I have to face.
And if I don't do it perfectly?
And if I don't do it perfectly?
I will still handle that.
I will still handle that.
I will still be okay.
I will still be okay.
I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be okay.
Either this is the right move for me,
Either this is the right move for me,
or it'll help me figure out what a better move might be.
or it helped me figure out what is better for me.
So it's a win-win situation.
So it's a win-win situation.
So what am I so worried about?
So what am I so worried about?
I'm clearing what doesn't feel like peace.
I'm clearing why
What
what
does
doesn't
not
feel
feel like
like
peace,
peace.
so that all that I'm left with is peace.
What does it? What does?
So
So
all that I'm left with is peace.
so all that I'm left with is peace.
And when I'm feeling more peace,
So I'm feeling more peace.
this schedule seems more doable.
This schedule seems more doable.
I have what it takes.
I have what it takes.
I'm allowing myself to remember that
I allow myself to remember that
in body, mind, and spirit.
in body, mind, and spirit.
And take a deep breath. Close your eyes, go inside, and say, I'm afraid I can't handle it.
I'm afraid I can't handle this.
And if it was at a 7 before, does that feel any different now?
I feel like it's a 5.
Okay, moving in the right direction.
It's,
And maybe some thoughts or memories came up during that as to why you're telling yourself you can't handle it or what you're afraid of.
yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
So I know for some folks watching this, if you're new to this, it's like, what, they only took it from a 7 down to a 5? Again, any relief from overwhelm. If you're overwhelmed at a 7, a 5, it feels more comfortable. And it also, tapping is also often like peeling the layers of the onion. So as we're going through, we start to remember, I know why I'm feeling this. It's because it reminds me of this other thing that happened maybe when I was 5 years old, and I've been holding that in my body. And you can start to process things. So it may take a while, and that 5 may go to a 0 after becoming more aware of something else. And it may just gradually come from a 7 to a 5 to a 3 and so forth. But here's the thing is, when we feel blocked from taking action, it's because the resistance is outweighing the motivation. So the why of doing it is not as strong as the why not. So when we'll find ourselves with an idea of what I could do, but I'm not doing it. And then we might tell ourselves that we're lazy. We are not lazy. It's just that it's just that the pros are not outweighing the cons. The why is not outweighing the why not. So it's just looking at it and going, okay, why is that still there? And sometimes all we have to get it to is the why is a 5.5 and the why not is a 4.5. And now the balance is enough that I can take action. We don't always have to get it to a 0, but
yeah.
it just gives us that freedom to do things or to think things that we couldn't think before and do things we stopped ourselves from doing before.
Yeah. So somebody said their discomfort went down from a 7 to a 4. Another person said 8 to 6, from 10 to 5, 9 to 5, 8 to 4. Wow, 7 to 5. Yay.
Excellent. Excellent.
Excellent. And you guys are amazing. And here's the thing. This was this was about 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
So we didn't take a pill. We didn't have to take a shot. We didn't even have to take any of those fancy drugs. And it's organic. It's something you have with you all the time. You used your hands to do it. You used words. Sometimes you don't even need to use words. Somebody's saying feeling sleepy. Yes, that is common, that when energy moves, you could feel sleepy.
Yeah.
Feeling relaxed.
Shoulder tightness went away.
Awesome.
Emotions and physical sensations are very interrelated. So there are times where I've tapped with someone on a physical sensation, like we'll just tap on this tightness in my throat, this tight throat, and it's like, oh, yeah, my throat feels better, and that sense of overwhelm is gone. Or vice versa, we'll talk about the emotional issue, and they'll say, yeah, that feels much less. Oh, and by the way, that shoulder thing is gone. So we can focus on whichever is doing it.
So Fariha is saying that when she did the tapping, it made her feel very anxious. Now that also happens at times. I know in the beginning when you started tapping with Kareen, I felt a lot of emotions come up, but I, of course, am used to it. So I knew what was happening. Would you explain that, Brad?
Um, yeah, I mean, so again, it's like cleaning your apartment and finding this dirty laundry under the sofa. So as we're entering into an experience, uh, it's so I would guess. I mean, I obviously I from just reading a two sentence thing, I can't know for sure what's going on for you. My guess would be it's not the actual tapping that's doing it, but the process of trying to make a change and going someplace that we've been avoiding. There is a part of this that will say, why are you trying to make a change? Yes, I know things are crappy, but it beats the alternative because we have all this programming that tells us what could be worse. And so we try to scare ourselves off, and we will, that electric fence that has been keeping us there will try to radiate even more electricity to scare us off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fictional. Most of
Yeah.
it is fictional, but our mind will say, "Stop this." So I often find the people who are most resistant to tapping, and I'm not aiming this at you, Freya, but I see this often where people who will make comments and say, "Oh, that's stupid" or whatever. Those are people who are afraid that it might work because
Yeah.
it's like you back off. Don't try to make any changes in my life because that feels scary.
Yeah.
My life may be crappy, but it's familiar. I dealt with this crap yesterday. I've been dealing with it for years. This is what I know. And so if I try to make a change, there may very well be a part of me that tries to scare me off.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like this was not my issue when Karine talked about overwhelm. I don't feel overwhelmed right now, but I was doing the tapping. I immediately felt like this, this anxiety come up. And and I realized, yeah, I am a business owner running two different companies. I do have some overwhelm. And a lot of times we just suppress that stuff. Like, no, I've got stuff to do and so we distract ourselves and we keep when I in my courses I tell my students it's like beach balls, right? If you have a beach ball and you have this big tank of water and you're given one beach ball to say, okay, now keep it submerged underwater. So you can do that, that's fairly easy. Then I give you another beach ball and now you have to keep both of them submerged. Okay, you can do that too, that's fairly easy. But then if we add a third beach ball and then fourth and fifth, so we're constantly trying to keep these emotions down because we basically don't want to feel uncomfortable. We want to avoid pain.
Yeah.
So sometimes tapping will bring up those beach balls that we are using so much energy to keep them submerged. And what needs to just simply happen is let it come up. And as the tapping continues, it's going to actually leave. You're going to feel it for a little bit. It's going to feel uncomfortable and then it's going to leave. And it's like we said, we were talking about it, it's energy hygiene. Sometimes I call this draining the swamp. Sometimes the swamp hasn't been drained at all, so it's going to take a little bit more work in the beginning, but you are going to feel lighter, you're going to feel much, much better.
Yeah. And
um,
so much of that overwhelm it's just a story that we tell ourselves. Like, if I can't manage this course schedule because of other things going on in my life, then something terrible will happen. Really?
mhm.
What? I don't
What?
know. Just it's going to be terrible though.
Yeah.
And we don't even allow ourselves to look. It's like, so the tapping helps us calm down and go, what? What
What?
exactly will happen if
Yeah.
I miss a deadline on the course? What will happen if that beach ball does come up above the water? Because we have all this belief that this is what has to happen,
Yeah.
and we imagine, if we're in a job where our boss is saying you have to get all of these things done by 5 o'clock today, and it's like, what happens if it doesn't? It's like, it may not be humanly possible to get that done.
Yeah.
And this is all fictional, and this person's trying to intimidate us because that's how they run a company, because they're not evolved, whatever it might be. They're doing the best they can,
Yeah.
but allowing ourselves to recognize I can only do what I can humanly do. Being upset actually slows me down.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to, the tapping, calming down the stress allows me to perform at my best
Mhm.
in the most efficient and effective way possible. And if I don't get it done by 5, I would not have gotten it done better with more stress.
Mhm. Yeah. And I know we don't have time to go into this right now, but people who are mostly in their parasympathetic nervous system, where you're not in fight or flight mode all the time, are people who are more productive. They have better relationships. They also are what you would call more emotionally intelligent people. When we are more in the sympathetic nervous system, where we are just constantly trapped in that fight or flight, everything goes down. And like what you said, we're not making the wisest choices, and our intelligence level actually goes down in that. And tapping
Yeah.
really helps you to get out of that and get into the parasympathetic mode,
Yeah,
which is
absolutely. Sometimes I say, if you thought of tapping as nothing else, it expedites the parasympathetic nervous system.
yes.
It helps us move from sympathetic to parasympathetic
Yeah.
at a biological level.
Yeah.
Um, the bioelectricity, the biochemistry calms us down and moves us into that place where we are more effective. You know, there's you'll probably know some people, and maybe it's you, who say, "I work best under pressure."
Yeah.
I
I do.
call BS. I call BS because what happens is I have all this experience where I waited until the last minute and then I got it done and I said, "Oh, it was the pressure that made me do it well." It's like, no, if you had started earlier, you probably would have done it better. But you don't have that experience. So it's not that you do it better under pressure, it's that I only do it under pressure. But then I tell myself this story because that's a better story than I just procrastinated, but I somehow got it done. So we try to make ourselves look good by saying, "Oh, I do my best work under pressure." I was teaching a class at a company once, and I did the example. I gave someone a tennis ball, and I said, "I want you to throw the ball, but first, I want you to tense your arm as much as possible. Put
Of
as much pressure there. Now throw the ball." And it just basically fell. It's like
course.
when your arm is relaxed, you
You
can
can.
throw the ball better.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
the same. But if we have all these experiences where, oh, I totally, I passed my test even though I crammed the night before, it's like, yes, but you don't remember anything of what you learned. So what was the point? So it
Well, I
so
get to work on a new belief that I discovered that I need to let go of, because I
yeah,
have always said I work great under pressure.
yeah. You
So
you might
I always create pressure for myself. Then you're right. You're
yeah,
absolutely.
so self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like,
Yeah.
well, if I want to do really well in this, I better put the pressure on.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
have a lot of this. There's a lot in personal development where they say, make it a must, put the pressure on. I was listening to a program the other day where he said, if you really want to motivate yourself, convince yourself of how much regret you'll have if you don't take action. And I'm like,
Mm,
what? So to try to get to a happier place, I should try to really make myself unhappy. I I just oh, I have such an issue
yeah.
with that. Because it's based on this belief of if I have a wall here, if I have resistance, it's the carrot and the stick thing.
Mm,
So if the carrot's not motivating me, then I have to have a stick.
mm,
Oh, that regret. But the thing is, if the carrot's not motivating me, I want to say you don't need more motivation. You
mm.
need less resistance.
Oh, beautiful.
There's a wall there. If you're not going through this wall and you're thinking that I just need the carrot's not getting me there, I need a stick to push me through the wall.
Mm,
And it may work at times, but what if we remove the wall? Because most often the wall is some fiction based on old programming. The
yes.
wall may be because we're not even aware of what the wall is. Why am I not working harder? Well, I need to scare myself with regret. But why I'm not moving forward may be that I'm afraid that my parents would be mad at me because my parents always hated rich people. And if I make more money, they might hate me. I'm not consciously thinking this, but at an unconscious level, that's blocking me. So I'm limiting my money making activities to
Mm,
try to protect myself from my parents hating me. And instead of addressing that, I'm going to try to scare myself into moving forward. And go ahead and tap as you think
yeah.
about this and just recognize this is insane.
Yeah. It is insane.
And
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? if mom and dad are upset about my success, they can go watch Brad's videos on YouTube and tap that crap.
Yeah. Well, and there's another one coming from the Muslim culture, which is God hates. God hates you if you like money, or God doesn't like money, or it's really glorified to be poor. The Sufi saints didn't like money. So I hear that all the time. For me, it's kind of funny. It's like, so if God has blessed you with money, so does that mean you should be ungrateful to him and just say, you know, I hate money, or it doesn't make sense. It really is insane, but people will hold on.
God created abundance. He doesn't, we don't, it's not like if we look up at the sky and see millions of stars, it's not like cover your eyes, don't see all those stars. If you see a tree that's abundant with fruit, cover your eyes, don't see all that fruit. And
Yeah.
this isn't, I'm not meaning to contradict anybody's faith or anything, but allowing ourselves to look at it. It's not, so it's the quote, money is the root of all evil. That is not the quote. The quote is, the love of money is the
Yeah.
root of all kinds of evil.
Yes.
Greed causes bad behavior, is
Yeah.
basically what that means. It's not that abundance is bad, but if you are seeking abundance at any cost and doing harm in order to get, then you've got it mixed up. It's
Yes.
not that it's wrong to have abundance, but seeking abundance at any expense is where the problem is.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So I want to read a couple of comments, and then we're going to talk about your offer, Brad. This is from Lisa. She said Brad's work is literally life-changing. EFT works.
Thank you.
And then we have another viewer by the name of Saffron, said, just a month with Brad, I have moved on in every direction. I have totally changed to the person I only ever got small glimpses of. I feel so much gratitude and love, Saffron. That is beautiful. Yes.
Thank you, Saffron. Thank you for your other. I've seen Saffron has left some really nice comments on a couple of other programs, so thank you for those.
Beautiful. And so I want to talk about your offer now, Brad. So let me figure out, I have 20,000 windows open. Here we go. So this is Brad's offer. Tap into your best life, clear your inner blocks, and tap into your best life in just 12 weeks. So can you see the screen, Brad?
I can.
Okay, awesome. So I will just scroll up, and so the link is the JamaliLifeShow.com/Brad25. And we will post that in the comments also, and I will just scroll up. Tell me where to stop. If you can just describe the offer.
Well, any of this. So basically, this is a program of looking at 12 areas of life, including our finances, career, relationships, health. And so each week there is a tapping round designed to help clear up the beliefs that stop you from expanding that. So, we rate each of these areas on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being, oh, my health is awesome, my relationships are awesome, I feel awesome about my finances, and looking at what stops that from being more awesome. So over the 12 weeks, we go through these different areas. So it's kind of a holistic look at life as opposed to just one area, because so often we just focus on one area. But every time, everything is so interrelated in our lives. So as we clear out certain money blocks, that often clears out things that are limiting our relationships or our health. So it's just a very holistic way of looking at life. So this is sort of the flagship program, the biggest program I have in going through these 12 weeks of covering this. And yeah, we are doing a $200 off offer.
Yeah, thank you so much. So week 1 is laying the groundwork. Week 2 is limiting beliefs. Then health and well-being. Week 4 is personal growth. Week 5 is romance. Week 6, family and friends. 7, money and abundance. Week 8 is connection, which is so, so, so important. People miss that usually. They don't understand how important connection is. Week 9 is self-care and recreation. Week 10 is career, then environment and next steps. And we have some great testimonials here of people who have had great breakthroughs. Kevin said, I was feeling very stuck before I started this, but I have completely flipped my fears and blocks on their head and have achieved some massive wins that I set for myself when I first signed up for the mastermind. Cool. Angela says, when I started, I was coming from a place of feeling immense pressure and tightening, especially in my business. Working in the mastermind has validated my feelings and helped me unwind and create space for change and exploration of what's next in a gentle, positive way. So, and as Brad said, he has taken $200 off for you guys, and this program is available only for $97, which we're very grateful for. The original value was $893, so you can literally get it for almost 10% of the original value right now. And I
Just to clarify, these are pre-recorded. I do have live programs, but this particular one is a self-guided course. So
they can do it again and again,
yeah,
and so it's released once a week. And how long is the guided tapping each video?
these
Also?
videos are longer tapping runs. I think the videos in each of these are around 25 minutes. So I know, and so for anyone who feels intimidated by that, it's like, oh my God, it's a long time.
Yeah.
You can break it up.
Yeah.
But I find when we do longer tapping, because there's a part of this that goes, okay, that's good enough, that's good enough, and it's like exercise, and we will sometimes shortchange ourselves.
Yeah.
So the longer we go, the more we clear out. And sometimes that's going over, taking a shorter tapping round, and the program does include some shorter tapping rounds, so you can watch a tapping round without feeling bad about stopping early. But
Good. Yeah,
yeah.
because we don't want you feeling bad. And I remember when I've taken your courses in the past, I would do once a day and sometimes more than once a day. And then I would, if I had a week, I would just do it every single day that week. Is that what you recommend also?
Yeah, and I ideally I mean the course is designed to be over 12 weeks where you focus on one section for that week, and you can be doing that particular round once a day, or break it up and see what feels right. And that would be ideal if you could do that. But I've had people say, oh no, I did it in a couple of days because I just powered through and did several in a day. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, I like that once a week thing because sometimes I without realizing I would, stumble onto something that needs really deep clearing and then I would be like, uh-oh, I should have done just once a week, but it could be different for different people. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in um uh, the link for those of you that need to just copy paste this. You can copy paste this link. There we go. All right.
Yeah, and
So
just to clarify, this particular program does not have a life. We did do last year, I think it was, a a 12-week live course based on this. So you had the course, the online course, and then we added an additional live. And I may do that again at some point. It's hard to. I'm doing a lot of traveling coming up, so don't have 12 consecutive weeks to do a live program. Um, but that may happen again. But just to clarify that this particular course is all online, pre-recorded.
yeah, which is great because you can work at your own pace. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, Brad, is so it is to have your ideal life, your fantastic life. And let's say we were talking about this earlier that something may have happened maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and I'm still holding on to that pain, that trauma. I just have not been able to forgive. I have not been able to resolve it. Is that standing in my way of having an ideal life? So maybe I had a breakup and the marriage is over and I don't care about relationships anymore. I just want to have health and wealth. So is this program going to help me with that while I'm still holding on to the trauma of the divorce?
Yeah, it'll help you work through anything that is in the way of your emotional well-being, which then contributes to your financial well-being and your physical well-being and all of that. Because even even if you're going through the section on money and
Mm-hmm.
you're tapping, whatever is there, whatever trauma you might be holding on to, you're still going to be processing that
Yeah.
because it's not because we're clearing out the physical discomfort, the energy that's blocked in your body. And so it's not as though you're when you're saying money, 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 your body and your energy system is going, okay, don't touch anything but money energy. Okay. We're just clearing money energy. It's we're going to be down regulating stress, whatever's there in the body. And we could be tapping on money and suddenly have a recognition of, oh, here's this relationship thing, or here's this health thing that we couldn't have, that we might not have seen if we were just tapping on relationships or health. So
Mm.
we really do clear the layers of those onions. And someone had asked earlier about trauma, and there is a lot of a lot of great stories of people relieving trauma, sometimes very quickly, sometimes over time. I mentioned Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, who's one of the most famous trauma experts, and tapping is one of the tools that he uses with his patients.
So the link is not working for you guys, the Jamali Life Show. So maybe type it in, you guys. Maybe because I capitalized a couple of things in there. Try not to capitalize and try that link. The JamaliLifeShow.com/Brad25. I will type it again in a second here. I just wanted to ask a couple more questions. Sunni said, amazing, Brad. All I've worked with Brad before and had so much success healing blocks in my life. Thank you for sharing your gifts. I'm planning on joining you in Florence later this month. That's awesome.
Awesome. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
You can see I have Michelangelo's David here. I have David's all around because Michelangelo said the statues are there inside the marble perfectly. All I have to do is chip away what doesn't belong to reveal the masterpiece that's inside. And to
Mm.
me, that is the perfect metaphor for what we're doing with tapping. So I am so excited to be doing a workshop where the David is. Not in the same building, obviously, but in the same city. So happy to be going back to
That's
Florence.
awesome. Another question. I have a lot of relationship emotional trauma, and I'm appearing in academic and clinical medical exam after a gap of almost 12 years, and I have to push through a lot. Is this course applicable to my case, please?
Um, well, these 12 areas are applicable to pretty much anybody's life. So it will bring up, it will help you process whatever is going on there. So whatever, whether it's come from, uh, wherever these things have come from in our past, from emotional experiences, from programming, from things our parents taught us, whatever the stories are that are causing the disturbance that limits our ability to think clearly and take positive action towards our goals, this will help you process that.
Beautiful. And then somebody else asked this question, which I think I forgot to mention. You have a lot of, no, I did mention you have over 1,000 videos on YouTube on various topics, and
Yeah.
that is I've had great respect for you for that, Brad, and so grateful for all the help you give out for free. How is this course different from those videos that you have on YouTube?
It's more, this is much more structured. So there's a course manual, so it has you doing certain homework exercises to be able to get more clear about what's going on. The videos are much longer, and it's just much more focused in an overall way than just using random videos on YouTube.
Cool. Thank you so much. I think we have kept you for, for over what we thought we would have, but it's always so
I
much fun
love what
to
I
get some.
do,
Yeah.
so
And we love what you do too, Brad.
well,
We
thank
are
you.
so
I'm gonna
grateful. Keep shining, keep doing your wonderful work. Thank you for being with us. You guys, again, really, really highly recommend you invest in this Great offer from Brad. I can tell you
I
he is.
just put the link in the
Oh,
so now that link that I just put in there should work. It just opened up for me on
I'll
there.
give it,
So
yeah, a minute for people if you want to, because Brad did it correctly. I wasn't getting the HTTPS, all that stuff. So if you guys want to copy that link that Brad just put up, you can copy paste it into your browser. And it's always just such an honor. I know we are going to do some more stuff together, Brad. I am looking forward to that. Tabara said, I'm a huge fan, Brad. I am also a
Thank you.
huge fan of Brad's, have been for almost 13 years that I've known him. And thank you so much. And thank you to all of you wonderful people for being here
Yes.
today, for sharing your energy. And we love you. And yeah, God bless all of you and good luck.
Yeah.
Lots
Thank you.
of love. Take care. Bye-bye, Brad. Bye, everybody.